Well, Keren, welcome to the program, and thanks so much for joining us. It's a very topical Be Aware Month, which I think is an extraordinarily good idea because they've been around a while, but we need to be reminded.
You're absolutely right, Mark. I mean, bees have been venerated by many civilizations over centuries, and you raise a good point that it's easy to be, sidetracked. There's a lot of interesting things on the market these days, but the power of hive products is a very real thing.
How is our industry? Is it in good shape, as it were, going into this 2020 month when every other industry is having all sorts of issues?
Yeah, it's a good question because it has been a strange year. Look, bee colonies continue to grow, to be prosperous here in New Zealand. We're unique in that space. I mean, bee colonies aren't as rosy, if you like, in other parts of the world, but our environmental factors mean that, in general, honey and bee pollen production's at a high, and it's been consistent too.
So what does NatureBee produce?
NatureBee is really a trove of goodies of hive products. So we sell a variety of products from the hive, but our hero product is bee pollen. We call it power pollen because it really speaks to the energy equation of bee pollen.
And how have you noticed? Has there been a change with COVID-19? Of course, everyone's so very much aware of their health and looking for magic cures or just something to enhance that health. Have you noticed a big uptick, as it were, in the last 6 months?
Absolutely, Mark. Look, we've had 5 times growth across our global markets with bee pollen in particular, and I think you've hit the nail on the head that consumers, they're more engaged in taking charge of their health more now than ever. Many of us have heard about bee products. Plenty of us are curious. And so with some research, and there's some fantastic science behind the benefits of bee pollen, consumers seem to be really stepping up. And, immunity is a hot button consumer topic at the moment, more now than ever. And absolutely, we've actually had for a very long time, for the first time in a long time, some supply challenges, just being able to keep up with consumer demand.
Could you, just for the ignorant here, how do you differ between the pollen and the actual honey itself? And do you just use the plain basic pollen?
Yeah, we do. Look, obviously we hear a lot about Manuka honey here in New Zealand. I mean, it's one of our many jewels, and I think we've got a bit of a surplus at the moment. But I mean, typically speaking, Manuka honey's had huge legacy in its export potential and its goodness. Bee pollen's quite a different animal. I mean, yes, it's from the hive. It's potent. It's powerful when the bees go out and about and they get amongst that the wilderness that we have our hive set up in the South Island. And they're bobbing from one sort of plant to the other. It could be broom, it could be gorse, it could be willow, it could be manuka. Clover. I could carry on. The bee extracts, if you like, the pollens from this wild floral and fauna, takes it back to the hive. Their stomach's kind of in their brain, Mark, and they basically replace. They extract, if you like, all the pollen. They put it back into the hive. But during the collection process, and it's really interesting. It's very different from honey. The beekeeper puts a lattice across the front of the hive, and the bees fly in, and all the pollen's actually also collected in their leg sacs. So as they go through this lattice, a little bit like kids on a jungle gym, the excess pollen actually comes off the legs, and then that drops into a drawer that the beekeeper then collects from a flat drawer, and the balance of the pollen is taken into the hive. And that's the source, that's a food source for the bee, is the pollen. And that's what keeps them buzzing all year round, foraging out 5 kilometres either side to go and collect the pollen and bring it back to the hive.
That's an extraordinary story, isn't it? It's an amazing process.
Yeah. It is, and no bees are harmed. I often get asked, what about the bees? Do they get trapped or caught on the way in? And the answer is no. It's a very sustainable, ethical practice.
And as far as Be Aware Month, how important is it for you to sort of be a part of this?
Look, it's hugely important. Look, education would be the key pillar for us. It's letting our wider audience, whether it's kids, whether it's adults, know about the gift of bees, that they're a very vital part of our ecosystem. And even with climate change upon us, their adaptability, their agility as a species is powerful. And it is really about workshops, fun activities. things that are going to actually promote engagement and get people thinking about the value of bees now before, I guess it would be too late. As I say, we're engaged, we're posting things up daily and giving away some goodies and some gifts. So it's a great thing that's happening this coming month.